Guys, a lovely day today. A little bit of showers, a little bit of snow, sun, a little bit of everything at the moment. But we're finally, this is the 1st of May, Workers' Day, International Worker Day. Happy International Workers' Day. But let's talk about something else. So, what's happening at the moment? We have a bill, um, a criminal justice incitement to violence or hatred and hate offences bill 2022. So I'm gonna attach all those links, and everything's gonna be on my Substack page. You can jump in there and have a look. So the link to the Substack page is gonna be added as well. But please have a look at a couple of things. So beside the um, free speech law in Ireland and free speech, what is free speech in Ireland, and then what are the boundaries of the free speech in Ireland? I'm going to talk to you about it in a minute, but just going to give you some overlook of the bill that's what's happening. So we're on the fourth debate at the moment. We had 4 TDs at the fourth debate, so this is what's how important that is for our government. So we had only 4 people in the Dáil Éireann, why the fourth debate was carried on. And meaning of protected characteristics. So we have the race, color, nationality, religion, national or ethnic origin, descent, gender, sex characteristics, sexual orientation, or disability. So we have religion, which is obvious, descent. We have national ethnic origin, gender. I want to talk to you about this. So means the gender of person or the gender which a person expresses as the person preferred gender or with which a person identifies, and includes transgender and gender other than those of female and male and female. So I'm going to stop at the moment. We have 2 genders. So that means I'm breaking the law straight away by saying that. I'm actually speechless at the moment what's happening, because my right to have an opinion actually supported by the science at this stage. But we're going to dwell on the transgenderism in another episode. I'm trying to prepare with all the backgrounds that comes into it. Sexual orientations has the same minutes as a section of Equal Status Act, and disability. Those points beside the gender are obvious. It shouldn't be. I'm actually against the hate speech against the religion, against the color, nationality, race. There's only one human race, guys, and we have to just admit it. National or ethnic origin. I have nothing against that. The only thing, if anybody, because the bad seeds everywhere, if anybody does anything wrong, I'm going to be against that. Descent, gender, this is the big red line over that. I've nothing about this, I've nothing against the sex characteristics, sexual orientation, or disability. Guys, it's free word. That's there shouldn't be hate speech coming out from my side towards those, but there's a big G on the gender, which we have to look into it again, guys. That can't be going forward. So this is the of the 4 TDs present to debate, the final stage of the hate speech bill. There's one government TD. That's a picture. So it's over here. It's a chap here, Paul Murphy here. And we're going to listen to what Paul Murphy had to say about that. Ladies and gentlemen, Paul Murphy.
Section 10 creates the possibility of someone being criminalised purely for having material which is hateful, without that material being communicated to the public. That's a problem, in my opinion. Like that it gets to the fundamental problem of this bill. That is the creation of a thought crime. Someone has hateful material on their computer. They don't publish it. No incitement to hatred is caused. There's no consequence for anybody else. The person themselves has hateful ideas. They write hateful things to themselves. They download hateful material, whatever, and they can be criminalised as a consequence of that. Again, to be clear, I'm against this hypothetical hateful material that this person has on their computer, but I think it's extremely problematic. to create this new category of thought crime, of preempting the incitement to hatred and the propagation of hate.
I'd like to add one more thing. It's anything can be specified on the basis of that law. I think anything can be classified as a hate crime, as a hate speech crime, when it's decided by the government and the lawmakers. So let's decide today on Tuesday. We're gonna basically, if you are against the criminals or the pedophiles, just because the government tells you that everything's okay about it, and if you're against it, you're going to be criminalized. So anything that the government is going to trying to take the spin on and make it spin, this is back to communism propaganda. This is back to 1984 by George Orwell. This is thought crime, as Paul Murphy said. And to be honest, I am against any hateful material, but the government, lawmakers, the law enforcement, anything can tell you that this is classified as a hate crime at the moment on Tuesday. It wasn't on Monday, but it's going to be on Tuesday because this is what we're going to try to promote. Well, let's hear what he has to say.
Hatred ideas. And as a part of that, I mean, subsection 3 states that where it is reasonable to assume that the material was not intended for personal use, the onus will be put onto the accused to prove their own innocence by showing the material that they prepared, or even just material they possessed, was never intended to be publicly communicated. And so within section 10, you have the creation of thought crime, and then you have a dangerous reversal of the burden of proof, where the burden is now placed on the accused to show that, to overturn the presumption that the material was not intended for personal use. This is extremely problematic. There is a real problem in terms of civil liberties with this section. As I understand it, at committee, the Minister argued that, don't worry, the DPP won't be taking cases willy-nilly, it'll be very sensitive and so on. That can't answer to us as legislators. We're creating law. We don't control what happens after that, and we can't be satisfied by promises that the TPP will or will not do something, nor can we be satisfied by promises that the courts will or will not do something.
And we all know the way the courts in Ireland work at the moment. The people charged with sexual harassment, pedophilia, and everything like that, they're getting away with murder at the moment, while the honest working people that made a mistake or anything else, they're being put in jail for the stuff. Less the thing worse than they did. It's the people are getting away with, but and yes, Elon Musk, Irish head laws attack on free speech. Twitter chief Elon Musk has criticized Ireland's proposed new hate crime legislation, calling it a massive attack on freedom of speech. So did Jordan Peterson and Bill Maher and Donald Trump Jr. And let's have a look at what is free speech in Ireland. So I'm going to leave this this on the main screen, but what I'm going to say is that, as we know, the free speech is a fundamental right that is essential to a functioning democracy. Well, while it's not without its downside, such as hate speech and the spread of false information, yeah, we know it happens. We're accused of spreading false information, and that false information turns out to be true. Some of us made the mistakes, and yes, that was a false information. We're getting into that spin of information flow, and everything can be pushed onto us. But the benefits of free speech outweighs the negatives. As John F. Kennedy once said, the rights of every man are diminished when the rights of one man are threatened. So in democratic society, we must protect free speech to ensure that all voices. Free speech is a fundamental right that is enshrined in many constitutions across the world, including in Ireland. However, like many other countries, Ireland also has limitations on free speech that are laid out in its constitution. The Irish Constitution recognises the importance of free speech, but it also acknowledges that this right must be balanced with other important rights and values, such as the right to privacy, the right to a good name, and the need to protect public order and morality, as it says, for all common good. One of the main limitations on free speech in Ireland is the prohibition on speech that is likely to entice hatred or stir up violence against any individual or group, which is where we're getting that blowed up hate speech crime bill. So this prohibition is laid out in the Prohibition, Incitement and Hatred Act, which makes it an offence to publish or distribute material that is likely to stir up a hatred against a group of persons on the grounds of their race, nationality, religion, ethnics, or sexual orientation. So, in addition to the limitation of free speech, there are also a number of laws in Ireland that protect the privacy of reputation of individuals. So, this is obvious. There has to be limitations to protect the private citizens. So, Data Protection Act, which regulates the collection and processing of personal data, and Defamation Act, which provides a legal remedy for individuals who have been defamed. Yes, the free speech in Ireland is supported by those acts. But let's say it again: the guarantee of freedom of expression set out in Article 40.6.1.I of the Irish Constitution protects the rights of the citizens to express freely their conviction and opinions. But this protection is limited since organs of public opinion may not be used to undermine public order or morality or the authority of the state. Moreover, the article further provides that the publication of utterance of blasphemous, seditious, or indecent matter is an offence which should be punishable in accordance with law. So we're going to the hate speech when it should be used. But coming back to the gender means the gender of a person, the gender which person expresses as the person preferred gender, on which the person identifies and includes transgender and gender other than those male and female. We're going way beyond. And we all know that the government is not going to use it the way it should. And what did Donald Trump Jr.? Donald Trump Jr. has taken aim, this is by the Independent.ie, has taken aim at Ireland's proposed new hate speech legislation labelling it insane. The eldest child of the former US president was responding to the tweet highlighting aspects of the legislation called the Criminal Justice Incitement to Violence or Hatred and Hate Offences Bill 2022. The updated legislation will add a demonstration test while prosecutors can rely on the use of hostile or prejudicial slurs, gestures, or symbols at the time of offending, in order to make it easier to secure prosecutions. So when you and the protest, a democratic right to protest anything that at the moment on Tuesday is being said that's it's being hateful, it can be used against you. And Independent says the legislation is long awaited as Ireland does not currently have specific laws dealing with a hate crime. The law will legislate for hate crimes by creating new aggravated forms of certain existing criminal offences where those offences are motivated by prejudice against a protected characteristic such as race, colour, and so on and so on. All the points I pointed out there a few minutes ago. Responding to the tweet about the upcoming laws, Mr. Trump Jr., whose father visits Ireland for today's week, it's insane what's happening in the free world. Europe's never been free. He was responding to a tweet by an opponent of legislation who described it as radical. Ireland is about to pass one of the most radical hate speech bills yet. Merely possessing hateful material on your devices, as Paul Murphy said, is enough to face prison time. So my question is, if on Tuesday that's deemed hateful, then on Wednesday you can be prosecuted. But that's it. That's it, guys. That's what I can gather for you at the moment. And have a good day.